Voting is not a sacrament of this church, but it's pretty close, and we don't care who you vote for, just that you vote. So breathing is one of the ways that we take care of ourselves when we are stressed. Some people run, other people write. I hit the swimming pool, light candles, light the fire bowl in my front yard. Breathe. Whatever happens, we will be together and we will go through it together. Let us now breathe together and enter into a state of prayer or meditation. Speak to God as we understand God, or listen to our inner wisdom, or just breathe into the wise silence, understanding that tiny baby noises and noises of life are part of silence in this congregation. You're invited to light candles of joy or sorrow or hope or memory. Some changes are good. Some changes are a little alarming. Does anybody notice we changed the colors here? We're going to change it a time or two before we start building, just so we can get used to things changing. I usually stand right here when I'm preaching, because usually I have a script that I preach from, but the printer wouldn't print it out today. That's okay. I'm just going to talk to you about what I know about Buddhism and right speech. But it's a change. It's uncomfortable. I don't know if it's uncomfortable for you. I could just go sit at the piano. I could do anything I want to do. Don't worry. So, the Buddha said right speech means refrain from lying, refrain from divisive speech, refrain from abusive speech, and refrain from idle chatter. I'm on board with most of those. We've heard a lot of lying lately. We hear lying all the time in advertisements on TV and all that kind of stuff. We hear lying, and people do little social lies. Sometimes they go, yeah, what a beautiful baby. I love that music. I do. I don't really, I try not to lie really, really hard. And so if somebody says, do you like this particular music or art? I say, I'm giving away my secret now, but I say, yes, I have a special place in my heart for that. We had a fire in our front yard for Halloween. My wife Kaya and I, we built a fire in a fire bowl. And a lot of the kids who come around have never seen a live fire before. And we also have tiki torches, which are lit. I thought everybody had seen tiki torches, but the children were very squirrely about the live flames. And one little guy, maybe 11, he was in a stormtrooper suit. He said, those aren't real. I said, yeah, they are. And he goes, you're a liar. And the mother in me wanted to get up and take him by the arm and sit him down and have a talk. But I reminded myself that I was not his mother, even though I'm over 50, which is the age at which you become the mother of everyone, at least in my family. So it hurt my feelings, though. I hate being called a liar. I hated it. It's still bothering me. And because I think if you lie to somebody, it taints the love between you. You know, we had tainted love this morning. And if you're lying to someone that you supposedly love, even if it's to protect them, I'm just lying to protect you, then it changes your relationship because you now know something that they don't know. You know the truth. They don't know it. So it breaks their relationship just a little bit because they're kind of stupid not to know it, right? They're operating in a whole different world from the one you're operating in. You can't have an authentic relationship as well if you're not in the same world. And we've seen someone who has lied so much, so casually, so brazenly, that it's almost tainted our whole cultural atmosphere. How can someone say, I didn't say that, even as the tape of them saying that is running in the background? But nobody cares. This is the shocking thing. Nobody seems to care that I know you're lying, and you know you're lying, and you know that I know you're lying, and you're still lying. This rips the fabric of our culture, makes us sick. And I'm sure, I don't want to, never mind, I'm going down a rat hole. Lying hurts. That's all I'm going to say. And lying pollutes. And so when you're teaching your kids to tell the truth, because, kids lie, it's convenient, and why not? And you find out the grown-ups can't read your mind, and wow, that's kind of interesting. You can tell them anything, and they can't read the truth inside here. And you're trying to teach your kids to tell you the truth, and you have to explain to them, honey, when you don't tell me the truth, then I don't know you. And so I can't be in a relationship with the real you. I want to know the real you. So refrain from lying, he said. Refrain from divisive speech. We've heard some divisive speech. We've heard people categorized. Divisive speech is speech that divides us into us and them. So you go, well, I could never be like them. And divisive speech can be appalling for the people who are put into a category and then painted with a broad brush of like, oh, those people are stupid, and those people are dreamy, and those people are lazy, and these people are whatever. You don't want to be put into a box with anybody else. If somebody said, oh, Texans are so whatever, we would all bristle because we all know hundreds of Texans. And everybody's different, right? We know that there's no truth in categorizing people, and it's divisive. And the liberals do it just as well as the conservatives. I mean, I'm in a Facebook bubble of liberals because the conservatives in my family don't use Facebook. And so I hear a lot of people posting. For those of you who don't use Facebook, posting means writing a little note on Facebook, and then everybody can read it. So people post terrible things about Trump supporters, and they go, oh, those people are so delusional, those people are so violent, those people are so this or that. No, that's divisive speech. You have to know that hundreds of Trump supporters are going to all be different from each other. You cannot glum them in a box together and then paint them as one thing, because it's more complicated than that. And if we are going to survive as a civil society, we have to understand that we cannot feel divided from one another. We cannot allow that to happen. I was at lunch the other day, and two guys in the booth behind us were having a loud discussion. One of them was a Clinton guy, and one of them was a Trump guy, and they were going at it. And it sounded like they were mad. But they kept going. I mean, for 40 minutes, it was loud, behind me, and cussing and everything. But at the end of the lunch, they got up and said, next week, we're going to... They were still friends. I liked that. That was wonderful. So divisive speech, if we're going to pay attention to our divisive speech, and by the way, the Buddha never said, if you do this, you're a bad person. Never. It was just, if you do this, it'll make you sick. And if you do this, it'll make you better. It'll make you well. It'll make you happy. So all we need to do is just pay attention to when we're doing an us and them thing and go, oh man, I'm doing it again. Maybe I'm going to wonder what it would be like not to do it. One of my favorite spiritual teachers is named Wendy Palmer. She's an Aikido master. And she says that wondering is much more powerful than willing. And so when you wonder, you just wonder yourself into changing. You just go, wonder what it would be like if I didn't think like that. Because how you think controls how you talk. Refrain from abusive speech, divisive speech. Oh yeah, abusive speech. Let's talk about that for a minute. We all have heard people speak abusively to other people. We've heard parents speak abusively to their kids. It's painful. Some of us have been spoken to abusively as kids. That gets in pretty deep, and it's hard to let go of. You still hear the voice in your head of the person who says to you, stupid, clumsy, worthless, idiot, whatever. It's powerful. Words matter. So, what I notice mostly, though, is that people speak abusively to themselves. Have you ever had a friend, you're sitting with your friend, and your friend goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that." You can go, "Hey, don't talk about my friend like that." A lot of us would be spoken to sharply by social workers if we were to speak to children the way we speak to ourselves. So, abusive speech makes us sick. It makes us sick to do it. It makes us sick to hear it. It's a very difficult struggle to figure out what to say when you hear it. How do you, in our Healthy Relations Covenant says we pledge to interrupt hurtful interactions when we see them. How do you do that? You can't just bustle up to somebody and say, "I'm sorry, this is a hurtful interaction." People will be annoyed by that. But you can go up and say, "Is everything okay? Everybody all right?" And it interrupts. You don't have to fix. We don't promise to fix it. We just promise to interrupt it. This last one gives me a problem. Abstain from idle chatter. All right. So the Buddha just says, ask yourself, is this true and is it useful? Now, we all have a different idea about what useful is. So lots of Buddhist teachers give lots of teachings about speech and silence. And I read one guy who said his teacher told him, only speak when it is an improvement on silence. And he did not speak for 13 years. That made me mad. I'm thinking, I hope you weren't married. Because they wouldn't have been married long. I hope he didn't even have a cat. Beings need speech. Relationships need speech. Is it idle chatter? If you say, "How was your day?" Is that an improvement on silence? Well, it depends on how much silence you've had recently. If you haven't had any, then "How was your day?" is not an improvement on silence. But if you've had a bunch of silence, then "How was your day?" is a delightful treasure. I was a marriage counselor for a long time, couples counselor. And there was one guy, sweet man, wonderful man. His wife said, "I want you to say I love you more." And he said, "Honey, I told you on our wedding day that I loved you. And I will let you know if anything changes." I have a friend who's married they're both wonderful, successful people. And she says at the end of the day, "How was your day?" And he says, "Do you want my version or do you want your version?" And she says, "Well, give me your version first." And he goes, "My day was great. It was fine." She said, "Now, okay, give me my direction, my version." And he goes, "So, I got up. And I brushed my teeth. And then I was trying to decide what to wear. And I was thinking, what do I have today? Anyway, you get the picture. What is idle chatter? I mean, you've heard your teenage kids on the phone and you go, "Oh my God, they're still talking about nothing. It's been 40 minutes. How do they even?" I remember my sons, one of them, is a great talker. And I remember walking past his room, and he was going, "Oh yeah, too, I can't believe she wore orange stripes with that. Her hair color just doesn't even go with the orange stripes. And then she got a tan. Oh my God, it just didn't even." And I'm thinking, what? Anyway, I was excited. I thought he might turn into a designer. And he might yet. He's been a rock star right now. So, idle chatter. Sometimes words are what build a relationship. Some people say, don't gossip. Don't even talk about someone who's not there. Another Buddhist teacher I read this week said, I decided never to talk about a third party when they weren't in the room. And I'm thinking, really? What? How do you build community then? How do I say, oh, you really need to meet Hank. He's a great guy. Did you know he trains horses? He's not there, but I'm telling you something cool about him. So the next time you see him, you can go, I hear you train horses. That's cool. Let's have a conversation. Even gossip builds community. One of my spiritual teachers says. A rabbi that I also read said, gossip is never okay when it is a speech that lowers someone else in the estimation of the person you're talking to. But if the person needs lowering, in other words, if you're warning somebody in good faith about somebody else, go ahead, because they shouldn't interact unprepared. So what is idle chatter? What is right speech? I want y'all to just start thinking about it. Just pay attention. What kind of speech makes you feel sick? What kind of speech makes you feel better? What kind of words can you say to another person that are nourishing? Maybe whenever you think about someone and think about something good about them, you could write them an email and say, I was just thinking about you and I thought this good thing. That person is going to read that more than once. After the first service, someone came over and showed me this tattered piece of paper, and she goes, these are the words someone wrote to me one time. I've carried them around for a very long time. Our words matter to each other. Our words can nourish, and our words can harm. Right speech. The Talmud, which is a commentary on the Torah, says the tongue is the only organ God created lying down and surrounded by walls.